Welcome to our St. Patrick's Day collaboration with myself and Carol James, who is doing an absolutely gorgeous, stunning makeup look. You should check her out. I will put the link below. So what I'm going to do first is remove the acrylic down to a really thin layer using my file. I didn't want to completely remove and soak and go through all that. So I'm going to brush away the residue from the non-living tissue, and then I'm going to take my 180 grit file and I'm going to etch the nail surface that is visible, and just make sure that I've taken the shine off that and buffed it with my 180 grit, not applying too much pressure, nice and gentle, literally just take away that shine so that the acrylic's got something to adhere to. I'm going to use gel residue wipe off solution to cleanse each nail, and then I'm going to use acid free primer. I do 2 layers. I do 1 layer now, and then I do a second layer just before I apply the acrylic on each nail. I'm using Naio Nails clear acrylic and high speed powder. This is my new brush. It's a size 14 and it's huge. I did not realise it was this big. I honestly thought a 14 would be good, but in hindsight it's not. It's too big for my tiny little nail beds, and the brush itself didn't really have much of a shape to it. I was really kind of struggling here. I don't like it. These are the forms I'm using. They are from eBay. If I find the link, I'll put them below, but they are fantastic forms. I really like them. So you might have to adjust the forms. I've had to add the tab here because I've got a bit of a raised hyponychium, nothing major, but quite often people need to snip the corners. You just need to take the time to make sure the form is fitting and comfortable for you or your client, and just take the time with it. That's my biggest piece of advice here, is don't rush the form fitting, because a well-fitted form that's nicely pinched at the end, if that's what the shape you're going for, we're going for stiletto today, that's beautifully flush under the free edge, it's just going to cause you so much less work in the long run. Now I paused here and I didn't press record again, so I lost the footage of me doing my thumb, so it's going to go onto my index finger, and you'll see here all I'm doing is placing a bead on the nail bed and then tilting the nail down so it doesn't fall back and flood the cuticle, and I'm patting it into place, being careful of the edges, making sure it doesn't go over, making sure it doesn't flood the cuticle. I really struggled with this brush. It's so much bigger than the brush I normally use, but you know, I carried on. I place a second bead further down because we're going for a stiletto. Now I did work quite wet at this point because the light was really speeding up the drying time of the acrylic, so I wanted a bit more time just to perfect the shape because I am slow. It's been a long time for me. I've had a long break from nails, so going back into it, I just kind of want to give myself a bit more time to play about with it, and preferably a smaller brush next time. If you guys can recommend any brushes, let me know, because yeah, I'm struggling to find a brush that I really like. I'm going to go in and work on my strength areas now and perfecting the shape, ideally giving yourself as little filing as possible, because if you can do the work with your brush, it's going to speed up your time hugely if you don't have to do loads of filing at the end. Well, I don't know why I didn't show it, but what I will then do is work on the next nail, but once the nail I've just done starts to get warm, it heats up and it loses its stickiness, it's ready to pinch. I always pinch. It gets you a beautiful C-curve. It really looks stunning. So once that acrylic is warming up, that's when I start to pinch, and I will use a pinching tool around the edge of the free edge, and then I will use my fingers to perfect the shape down to the end of the stiletto. Okay, so now we're going to file. I've left the form on the pinky finger while that's just finishing off curing. I'm going to file sidewall, perfect the shape at the tip that I want, and then work on the bulk of the nail. And here we are, all filed and beautiful. Lovely. So I decided to add some of Naio Nails Glam Gold to my ring finger. It's not a strength powder and I'm purely using it for a bit of colour, and I worked with it really wet and it was messy, but it's such a beautiful colour. Because I want this to go underneath my Swarovskis, I'm not going to encapsulate it, I'm literally going to do a thin layer of this, I'm going to gently buff, and then I'm going to top coat it. Because I really just want it sitting behind the Swarovskis. I didn't have the gel polish that I wanted, so that's what I'm doing here. So the plan here is to do my thumb, index finger and second finger in matte dark green. I'm going to do my thumb first. I prefer to cure it all separately. So I'm just using Blue Sky nail gel. I've always worked with that. I work with Gelish, I work with Blue Sky, and I like Blue Sky. It's affordable, it's really cool. So I'm just applying a thin base coat, making sure I cap the edges and the tip. There we go. And then I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds in an LED lamp. I'm now going to take my colour. Apologies, I had it completely out of shot. It is Blue Sky Gel Polish A52, which is a green shade. I always give it a little wiggle between my hands because I haven't used it before, so I'm going to apply a thin coat. It's a dark colour, you need to apply a thin coat. Doesn't matter if it takes you 3-4 coats to get the look you want. You're best off going thin and curing each layer for 30 seconds in an LED lamp because you'll get a much better cure. You won't get any lumps and air bubbles. So we're going to cure that now. Okay, so now you want to take your matte top coat. I'm using Blue Sky, and just make sure you don't miss any of the nail surface. Make sure you cover everything and then cure it under either a UV or LED lamp. Okay, so when that's cured, you want to remove the residue with gel residue wipe off solution. I'm then going to go ahead and do exactly the same on the index finger, second finger, and I'm going to do just a couple of thin coats on the pinky finger, and then we'll crack on with the next step. Quick tip after filing your acrylics, if you just go over them very gently with a rub of acetone, it will just smooth the nail surface ready for gel application. So we're going to zoom in now, just nice and close, just to show you. And when we do the base coat, you want to keep it even, thin. You want to make sure you cap all the edges. And just, this is sped up, I don't work this fast. Just make sure you cap all the edges, keep it nice, even, thin coat, and then cure for 30 seconds in an LED lamp. And after doing all those nails matte, I'm now moving on to my unicorn nail. Now what I've done is taken a very thin brush and some of the green UV LED gel, and I'm just building up the raised edges of the unicorn horn, starting thicker on one side and twisting round to the other side. And every time I do one, I then just flash cure it for about 15 seconds just to hold it in place, because it is a soft gel, it will move around. And I build that up. I do about 3 layers building that up. So do a little bit, cure it, do a little bit more, cure it. And then when I finish that, I'm actually going to use a no wipe top coat and apply chrome powder. Now I've totally lost the footage for this. I don't know where it's gone. So I will show you a picture of the end result. But I literally built this nail up until it looked nice and unicorny. And then I did a no wipe top coat, being sure to go from side to side, not cuticle to free edge. So we don't want it all lumpy. And then I did 2 coats of the chrome powder. So I did chrome powder, no wipe top coat, cured it, chrome powder, no wipe top coat, cured it. And this is the end result. It's time for sparkles. Okay, so I'm going to prep my gold nail just by buffing the surface. I'm going to apply my Glaze and Go top coat, cure it, and then I'm actually going to lightly buff it again before I put the Swarovski crystals down. And here are the selection of crystals. I have Golden Shadow, I think they're SS9s, and I've got Rose ABs. I don't know what sizes they are, I will put it in the description box below. I'm going to do the gold nail first by gently buffing it, just to give it the acrylic something to adhere to. I prefer to attach my stones with acrylic. I'd use a small wet bead, as you can see. I drag it in the area I want it, and then I place the stones, and it kind of sucks it in and grips it straight down. I do this, I'm going to do the larger Golden Shadow Swarovskis through the centre, and then the smaller AB crystals either side, until I've kind of got what I like. I didn't have a design that I copied, I literally just went with how I was feeling, and when it looked sufficiently sparkly to satisfy me, that's when I stopped. to do a small design at the cuticle end, just adding a couple of the golden shadow ones and a couple of the rose ABs, and just kind of build it up until I like the look of it. It was really just a going for it. I started with one design and ended up with completely different to what I wanted, and I love it. So that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just being free to just have a go and see what you like. And then after I've done that, I'm going to seal in all the stones with a very small brush and some UV gel or LED gel. I'm going to use the matte gel for the matte nails and my no white top coat for the golden nail. Here you have the finished result. I absolutely love it. I hope you do too. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I want to say thank you so much to Carol for asking me to do this collaboration. It's been so much fun. Thanks guys.